I don't know if you've like heard or anything, but I think my Western Fantasy got released on Tuesday, was it? I could not be happier. It is such a pleasure to have released this book. That's right, Bloodrush is out, it's on the shelves. It's always a pleasure coming to the end of a long project like this, especially when there's been quite a lot of experimentation. Western Fantasy is a new thing for me, so a little bit nervous unleashing it upon the world. But I have to say I've been blown away by the response, and I want to thank you guys so much for all your kind comments and for all the retweets and mentions on Twitter and Facebook yesterday. That was off the hook. And Bloodrush has already received 3 5-star reviews on Amazon and Goodreads, and it's not even been out 2 days. So I just could not be happier, and I'm absolutely over the moon that it's out and that you guys are enjoying it so much. So thank you again, and if you haven't grabbed Bloodrush yet, you can grab it at www.bengalley.com. So today I'm doing a bit of a Q&A on Bloodrush. A couple of weeks ago I asked you guys if you had any questions, and you can Facebook me, tweet me, or email in with them. And so tonight I'm going to answer quite a few of them, actually, looking down my list. To question 1, if I could meet any author, dead or alive, who would it be? That's going to have to be Tolkien. In my mind, he's the father of fantasy, and I'd love to just pick his brains and hear him ramble on about hobbits and elves. That'd just be fantastic. We'd have to definitely do it over a pint. And question 2, how do I come up with a new magic system? That's a very good question. A lot of it does just sort of spring out of thin air, but you have to be in a good enough place to allow those ideas to just come and hit you. And you have to have sort of a framework or a skeleton of an idea to really entice those ideas out. For Bloodrush, it was a lot of mythology. The idea behind this magic system is blood, so ingestion of different types of bloods gives you different powers. And that's not a new idea. That goes back thousands of years. So for me, it was sort of borrowing those ideas and then adding my own. But the short answer to that is slowly and carefully. Question 3. Straight in at the deep end, why Western Fantasy? Well, basically a couple of reasons. I wanted to take a gamble and do something really different. It's not brand new Western Fantasy, or Weird West as it's also called. Dark Tower by Stephen King is probably the most notable example, or Red Country by Joe Abercrombie. But I wanted to add my twist to it, and I had my ideas and my world that I wanted to build. And so I find that medieval fantasy goes perfectly well with Western fantasy because they just seem to correlate and entwine in a really nice way. You've got, the lone knight and the swords and things like that, whereas you've got the lone gunslinger and guns, of course. And it's both a time where rules are limited, lots of land for grabs, lots of expansion, a time of flux as well. So for me, it perfectly lined up. Question number 4. What type of book character would I like to be? Oh, that's gonna have to be a mage, and a morally grey one, a bit like Farden. Question 5, what is the next book going to be called? That's a very cheeky question, but I can confirm it's going to be called Blood Moon. Question 6, where is one place on Earth that I've always wanted to go but never been? Very good question. I am a bit of a travel junkie. I do like to travel. I do get excited by the prospect of travel. The ultimate writing destination for me would be at the top of a mountain, so I'm going to go Everest. I'd love to do Everest. Question number 7 is also a very good question. What is my beer of choice? That is... It's going to have to be Asahi, the Japanese dry beer. Question number 8 is why did I choose Wyoming for the setting of Bloodrush, and have I ever been? No, I've only ever been on Google Maps or Street View. I now feel that I know it pretty well from the sky, from a satellite's point of view. But Wyoming for me was the frontier at the time, even though it's alternate history and an alternate universe. The railway in 1867 was going through Wyoming, and of course Wyoming is synonymous with the classic cowboy culture that we see in westerns, and that is still alive today as well. So for me, it's quite an obvious choice. Plus, I've got a little bit of a fascination with the state in terms of Yellowstone and just how barren it is, and I would love to go. Question number 9 is what football team do I root for? If it's UK football, then definitely Tottenham. Hell yeah. But the thing is, my sport is baseball. I love the Phillies. Question 10, Star Wars or Star Trek? Star Wars. I cannot wait for the next one. Question 11, a very, very important question. Cake or pie? Pie. Definitely pie. What kind of pie? Steak and ale. Question 12. Who is my favourite character out of the new book? Now that is a harsh question to ask an author because we should all technically love all our own characters. I mean, Tom Merrion, the lead character, is great. He's a little angry at times, a little bit of a petulant child, but that's just him. It's a toss-up between Rin the fairy, Rin Renar, and Lurker, also known as John Hobble. Now, it's going to have to be Lurker. There's something really interesting about him. Not a lot is revealed in Bloodrush about Lurker. You only get sort of the surface. You get a couple of stories here and there. So I think there's a lot of potential. I know there's going to be a lot more of him in Blood Moon, so I can't wait to write him. So I think my favourite character has got to be him. Question 13, very important again. What is my favourite curry? And that is easy. Chicken tikka madras. The next question is very interesting as well. Was it fun mixing up magic with guns? Yes, extremely. I think for me, what it does is sort of levels the playing field, or at least changes the playing field into something entirely new. Because, you know, what happens when someone with a gun comes up against someone who can use magic? All the advantages that the magic user has are instantly met with something that can kill you very quickly and easily and with not a lot of effort. And that sort of dynamic, it was really, really interesting. I had to try and get the balance quite right. But it's also quite fun as well. For instance, can a magic user stop a bullet? And if they can't, what do they do? So in the book, the Savages have a very interesting power where they can heat up metal from great distances. So they can actually melt bullets in midair. And if you've read Bloodrush or currently reading Bloodrush, you'll know exactly what I mean. What is your favourite element of a Western? Good question. I would have to say, it's the classic train robbery, isn't it? And I definitely tried to put it into Bloodrush. So that's it from me today. I hope that answered your questions, and I hope that gave you a bit more insight into Bloodrush. I also hope you're enjoying it if you've downloaded it already, or do enjoy it if you haven't got it yet. Now don't forget, you can get Bloodrush at www.bengalley.com. All the store links are there for you to click on, so you can read on whatever device you want. In the meantime, I'm still running my Stetson selfie contest, so if you haven't yet taken your Stetson selfie, you've got about to the end of the week to do it and enter yourself, and you could win one of 3 signed copies of Bloodrush, which will be coming in January on paperback. So do get involved, use that hashtag Stetson selfie, and I'll catch you on Twitter and Facebook. Thanks very much, guys. See you soon. Bye.